Hello students, Wendy Ansley here, kinesiology professor at College of the Desert. I have kind of a unique sequence today. We're going to take the beautiful forward fold that we do, standing forward fold, and we're going to explore different variations of this simple and profound posture. So often throughout our practice we do forward folds between down dogs. As we transition forward, we do a lot of forward folds and our sun salutations. But now let's explore beautiful and diverse options in a pose such as the standing forward fold, which really releases the hamstrings and the lower back. So I'm excited to share this practice with you all. And we'll first start as a kind of a gentle preparatory preparing for this practice. We'll release our lower body a little bit. And we're going to get started lying on our backs. And we're going to extend that left leg out. And we're going to draw the right knee. Okay, we're gonna come into half happy baby here. We're gonna clasp around the belly of the right hamstring, or we're gonna take the right arm and kind of thread it through and draw the knee towards the ground, right knee towards the ground, and I'm extending that left leg straight, trying to get the back of my pelvis onto the ground as I breathe into this beautiful hip opener here, continuing to draw my right knee towards the shoulder, but yet lengthen the spine. Inhale and exhale through the nose. Calm the mind. Beautiful, and we're gonna almost reset with the knees touching and then extend that right leg straight and draw that left knee towards the shoulder as we either clasp the belly of the hamstring for the most of the students here, or a majority I would want to say can actually clasp. We thread that left arm inside and we draw the left knee towards the shoulder, all creating length in the spine. Continue to inhale and exhale through the nose. Try to keep the back of the pelvis to the ground. Gently release, almost reset as we draw both knees towards one another. And we're going to stack as we come onto the right here, both knees stacked over one another. And let's try to press, extend that left arm out to the side and then gaze over the left shoulder as we try to get the left shoulder to the ground, releasing the upper and middle part of the back. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, release and gaze over that left shoulder. We'll stay here several breaths. Again, trying to press that left shoulder into the ground and release the upper and middle part of the back. Gently release. Draw both knees together here. Draw them over to the left, and this is where we stack the knees right on top of each other, and I kind of take my left hand outside my right knee and extend my right arm to the side in a beautiful lying down spinal twist, trying to get the right shoulder blade towards the ground. And again, I inhale, lengthen. Exhale, gaze over that back shoulder. Gently release. Coming into full happy baby pose if we can. And so now our knees are touching, but we're going to widen them, and my heels kind of rotate in and my toes rotate out. A gentler version is we clasp the belly of the hamstrings while we try to get the lower back evenly with symmetry towards the ground. Or we take the arms and we thread them on the inside and we clasp outer edges of the feet. And I still awaken my arches, pada bandha in the feet. As I draw my knees towards my shoulders and my lower back towards the ground. We'll stay here several breaths. Beautiful hip opener. Inhale, we lengthen the spine. Exhale, we almost melt into the ground. Still trying to get the lower spine to touch. Continue to draw the knees towards the shoulders. Gently release. Draw both knees together, clasp around the shins, and think about getting the lower spine towards the ground. This is actually a supine, forward fold here as we lie on our backs and we just draw length evenly into both sides of the spine. Gently release and maybe do a few little baby, almost little rock outs here, a little few just kind of articulating movement in the spine as we transition into a little tabletop. I like to kind of tuck my toes, knees under the hips, palms under the shoulders, and I walk the hands forward a few inches. I'm going to lead with those hips, and I come into our first dynamic down dog as we heel and toe. Heel and toe. Beautiful. And let's take those hips and draw them side to side. And then come into our dynamic, our static hold this time. Let's press through those palms and draw length in the spine. Draw the shoulder blades kind of down the back ribs. Take the tailbone back and down. Draw the pubis bone back and up. Transition as we walk the hands and the feet towards each other. Come into a halfway lift, either hands onto the shins or the thighs or to the ground. And then exhale, come into a little forward fold. Let's do a little dynamic forward fold here. Gently bend the knees. We're going to swan dive up and we're going to open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, heart-centered. As we get started with our practice, again, we're going to do a lot of variations with forward folds, standing forward folds. And we might use the blocks, we might use a strap, and I'm going to even take you to a wall afterwards. So it's something to keep in mind. But every time we step on these four corners of the mat, it's an opportunity to work within and with our breath and our postures. So I want us just to close our eyes and lower our head to our fingertips. I want you just to, maybe you have a friend, a relative, someone that's struggling. And perhaps this is an opportunity for you to set your intention, this energy, this kind thoughts for this person that you care about. Honor this person with your efforts today. And gently look up. Beautiful. So it's going to be fun today. We're going to come to the edges of the mat. Let's start off with a cleansing breath where we inhale through the nose and we exhale through the mouth. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Mountain pose. We awaken those arches. We lift those arches. We spread those toes. Active legs. We draw the shoulder blades kind of down the back. Ears in line with the shoulders. We broaden the collarbones. Inhale, we draw those arms up. Let's clasp around the left wrist. Let's take the thumb and index finger together. We're going to inhale, lengthen. Exhale, shift over into a lateral stretch. We keep the head in line. We draw the left shoulder blade in and we draw that right hip forward. Inhale, rise. We clasp a hold of the right wrist, thumb and index finger together. Inhale, lengthen, shift over to the left here. Draw that right shoulder blade in and that left hip forward a bit. Lateral release. Inhale, rise. Exhale, we're going to swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, either hands to the shins, the thighs, or the ground. Gaze forward and down, tailbone out and back. Framing the feet, we're going to step back into Phalakasana here, plank. So where we lightly dome the upper shoulders, but we engage the shoulders as well. Belly button to the spine, heels over the balls of the feet. A little core awakening here as we stay here several breaths where we inhale and exhale through the nose. Gently lower to the knees as we transition for Ashtanga Pranam. Knees, chest, and chin. Ashtanga Pranam. Knees, chest, and chin. My hands are right by the chest. My elbows are close to my sides. My shoulder blades are down the back. And I'm really awakening my lower back as we stay here several breaths. Inhale and exhale through the nose. Transition as we send those legs back to easy cobra. Feet are hip distance apart. We press into the ground. We draw the shoulder blades down the back. As we press and root through the hands and the feet, we're simply awakening the lower back. On the exhale, we're going to lead with those hips. Transition to down dog. Press through those palms, lengthen the spine, root with the fingers, especially the second and third fingers here. And we want to firm those thighs. Take them back and up. Continue to inhale and exhale through the nose. One-legged down dog, we're going to draw that left leg to about hip level. Firm that right leg. Draw the right hip inward just a bit and almost rotate that left hip inward. Beautiful. So we kind of firm the upper right hip. Beautiful. On the left knee, we're going to draw, on the transition, we're going to draw the left knee to the chest, to the nose. We kind of dome the upper back here. As we place the left foot next to the left hand, we're going to lower the right knee to the ground. Let's do 1 or 2 dynamics. Beautiful. My back foot's in a plantar flexion. My front foot is pressed into the ground, and I draw a length on the inhale, length in the spine. Root through both feet. Lengthen the spine, shoulders down the back, and we're really breathing into this right hip. Reflecting back on our intention. Caring, loving that person that we set this intention. Frame the foot, release. Come into a kind of a firm runner's pose here. My back leg is straight. Firm that left hip. Transition to down dog here. Inhale, we're going to draw this right leg up. One-legged down dog. Firm that left hip a bit. Almost rotate that right hip inward. On the exhale, we're going to draw the right knee to the chest, to the nose. Place the right foot next to the right hand. We're going to lower the left knee to the ground and do 1 or 2 dynamics. We're going to inhale, draw those arms up. Energy from the ground, out the fingertips. Stay here several breaths. Gently frame the foot. Runner's pose. Connect to the back leg. Firm that right hip. Transition into down dog. We'll stay here several breaths. Breathe into any stiffness, any pain. Continue to firm those thighs. Transition as we walk it forward. Inhale, halfway lift, either hands to the shins, the thighs, or the ground. Exhale, forward fold. Maybe some of you are going to use a block here. I'll demonstrate with a block. I'm going to take the block over to the left here in my forward fold. And we either can keep the hands on the blocks if we have a hard time kind of touching the ground. Or we can come into the ground, and as I come here and I'm pressing, right, I'm really releasing almost my right side a bit more. So we're in a little lateral flexion here of our Uttanasana, just another variation. And some of you, again, you can use the block. The feet can either be hip width apart or they can touch. It's up to you. Gently release. And now we're going to adjust to the right. And some of you like to utilize the block. So the block is about, 6 inches away or so, my hands are. And we're either going to press into the block as we release a little bit more of that left side, a little lateral flexion here. Or we press into the ground, either way. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, melt into the ground. Breathe into any stiffness, any pain. Gently release, come forward. Gently bend the knees. Inhale, open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, heart-centered. Beautiful. Move my block a bit. Let's do a cleansing breath between. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Rooting through the four corners of the feet. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, swan dive down into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Shoulder blades down, the back ribs, tailbone out and back. Either hands to the shins or the thighs. Framing the feet, step back into Phalakasana or plank. Dome the upper back, but engage the shoulders, belly button to the spine, and again, connect to the legs, to the shoulders. Not just the core, it's amazing core awakening, but our core is almost energy through our entire body. Gently lower to the knees. Ashtanga Pranam again. Knees, chest, and chin, releasing the posterior part of our body here, the posterior chain. Hands close to the chest. Draw the shoulder blades down the back ribs. Transition to easy cobra. Take those legs back. Hands by the sides, shoulder blades down the back ribs. Press to the tops of the feet, knees off the ground. Transition to down dog. Beautiful. Press through the palms, lengthen the spine. Tailbone back and down, pubis bone back and up. Lift the left leg to about hip level, one-legged down dog. Firm that right hip, draw that left hip inward. On the exhale, we're drawing the knee to the chest, to the nose, doming the upper back, placing the left foot next to the left hand, coming into runner's pose. I'm going to I'm on my fingertips here, beautiful. And I'm firming this right thigh, so it's not bent, it's firm. We're drawing the quadricep to the bone. Keeping the right fingertips to the ground, let's draw this left arm up. Come into this little thoracic mobility. And I come onto the pinky toe of the back leg as I kind of rotate that right hip inward a little bit, drawing length in my spine. Beautiful. On the exhale, frame the foot. Transition to down dog. Draw that right leg up, one-legged down dog. On the exhale, draw the knee to the chest, to the nose. Dome the upper back, place the right foot next to the right hand. Come into runner's pose. Firm that left thigh and almost firm that right hip. Let's keep the left fingertips towards the ground, under the shoulders, as we extend that right arm up. Little mid-thoracic mobility. Come onto the pinky toe of the back leg. Reach the fingertips towards the ceiling. Gently release, frame the foot. Transition back into down dog. Tailbone back and down, pubis bone back in, up. Continue to firm those thighs and then try to draw the heels towards the ground. Transition as we walk the feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. Beautiful. We may take a block and kind of have it nearby if we're going to use it a little bit on this next one. In Uttanasana here, we're going to awaken this left foot. We're going to kind of stand on this left foot and lift this right leg up a bit. As we draw this right foot kind of outside of this left foot. Okay, and it's a little bit higher. And we're going to gently bend the knees and kind of lead a little bit of a hip hinge as we come down into a forward fold. Some of us might use the block, and I shift my block now over to the right, and I kind of take this left leg, this IT band, and I really press into the ground here. Good. And so I feel it a little tiny bit more in my left leg here, my left hip, my left leg, and another form of a kind of a cross-legged Uttanasana. Just another variation. You really feel it in the iliotibial band of that upper left hip, which draws all the way down to the left knee. This is actually a really good pose for runners. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, melts into the ground. Gently release. I kind of walk those hands more center. Gently, kind of softly bend the knees as I inhale, swan dive up. Exhale, come back to Tadasana. Rooting through my right foot a little bit, and I'm kind of lifting this left foot now as I cross the left over the right, and it's a little bit higher, that left foot, and my toes are rotated inward. I gently bend the knee, let's inhale, swan dive up, and gently bend the knees now as I swan dive down. And I might take the block if I have a hard time touching the ground and then shift the block here over to the left. But I can touch the ground as I press into the ground and I really breathe into this upper right hip area and this right leg, both legs, but a tiny bit more in this right leg. So especially up high here on the side of my right hip, which takes that IT band down that entire leg to the knee area. I'm going to stay here several breaths. Gently bend the knees, hip hinge, inhale, swan dive up, open the chest, open the heart, exhale, heart centered. Beautiful. I love it. We're exploring today. This is fun. Coming to the center of the mat, a little Tadasana with a twist here. I'm going to take my right hand outside my left hip, and I'm going to draw my left hand on my right hip. Inhale, create length. Exhale, gaze over the back shoulder. But I want both my hips kind of facing forward. That's what I'm going to focus on. Inhale, lengthen. But then gaze over the back shoulder, a little thoracic twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, gaze over the back shoulder. Gently release. Both hips facing forward. Take the left hand outside the right hip, the right hand outside the left hip. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, gaze over the back shoulder. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, gaze over. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, gaze over. Gently release. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Either hands to the shins, the thighs, or the ground. Framing the feet, step back into plank. Core awakening again. Engage the belly, engage the shoulders, engage the thighs. Dome the upper back, but yet draw the shoulder blades almost towards one another too. Gently lower to the knees. Knees, chest, and chin all at the ground at the same time. Knees, chest, and chin. My hands I keep right by my chest. Elbows close to my sides. We're a little bit more awake, so I'm going to add another variation. You either can continue knees, chest, and chin, or you can draw the feet up. You can take the hands, interlace the fingers, draw the shoulder blades towards one another. And now we have another beautiful shoulder and chest opener. Opening the backside of the body. Continue to lift those hands up high. Draw the shoulder blades towards one another. Gently release. Send those legs back. Hands by the chest. Press to the tops of the feet. Press the feet. Through the hands. Knees off the ground, and we're awakening the lower back. Transition into down dog. Tailbone back and down, pubis bone back and up. Lift that left leg to hip level. One-legged down dog. Transition, draw that left knee to the chest, to the nose. Left foot next to the left hand, runner's pose. Firm the back leg. Inhale, we're going to transition to Ashta Chandrasana. Front leg parallel to the ground, knee over the ankle. Connect to the front leg and the back leg. Balance and strength. We're going to draw the hands now to an open arm twist. You either can gaze straight ahead where you are, you can gaze at that back arm for a little more challenge. Gently, we're going to take that right hand now to the ground. And we're going to press into this right hand, drawing almost that right shoulder blade in. And we're going to press outer edge of this right foot, preparing here in side plank variation. Some of us simply going to stay here. Kickstand approach. So notice my foot is higher than the hip here, that front foot. Some of us are going to take it into Vasisthasana. The feet are stacked and they're flexed. Shoulder blades packed and in. Fingertips towards the ceiling. Shoulder stability, hip strength, core strength. Gently release. Forward plank. Active core, core awakening. Lead with those hips. Come into down dog. Lift that right leg to hip level. Draw the right knee on the exhale to the knees, the chest, the nose. Place the right foot next to the right hand. Come into runner's pose here. Active legs here. Strength. Inhale, come into beautiful Ashta Chandrasana. Find your balance. Right hip back, left hip forward. Find that balance between the front leg, the back leg. Draw the quadriceps to the bone. Find your gaze straight ahead. The arms are opening to an open arm twist. You're either going to gaze straight ahead, like at my screen, or you're going to gaze towards the back hand for more challenge. Left hand comes on the inside, shoulder stability. Draw that left shoulder in and press outer edge of the left foot. And now you're going to stay in that kickstand, or you're going to transition to Vasisthasana. Lift that bottom hip. Engage the shoulder, shoulder stability, core strength, hip strength. Transition into forward plank. Let's connect deep within here, deep within. Let's do some scapula push-ups here. Inhale, draw the chest forward, shoulder blades towards one another. Exhale, dome the upper back, draw the shoulder blades away. Inhale, chest is forward in the scapula push-up, shoulder blades towards one another. Exhale, dome the upper back, draw the shoulder blades away. Inhale, chest is forward, shoulder blades towards one another. Exhale, dome the upper back, push the shoulder blades away. On the exhale, lead with those hips. Down dog. Tailbone back and down, pubis bone back and up. Feel those inner thighs spiraling back, all creating length in the spine. Continue to inhale and exhale through the nose. Transition, walk it forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Gently bend the knees. Inhale, swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Exploring Uttanasana here with a little twist. So let's take the feet hip width apart, and we'll bring a block just in case we're going to need a block here. You can take 2 blocks actually here, that might be easier. Right in front of the feet, which the feet are actually hip width apart. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, gently swan dive down. We'll start where we bend the right leg and we place the block to the ground or to to the block or to the ground, right? And now the hand is onto the ground or the block, and we're coming into an open arm twist as I gaze up at that left hand. Gently release. Either the left hand, I'm bending the left leg, or the left hand to the block or to the ground as I draw this right arm up. Open arm twist, left leg bent. Beautiful form of Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, press into the ground. Gently release. Come into forward fold, reflecting back on our intention. That person that we care about, that person that we love. Gently bend the knees, swan dive up. Open that chest. Open that heart. Exhale, heart center. Beautiful. Coming to the center of the mat. Some of you may want to use a strap for this. I tend to just think of going into partial way without a strap, but some people that are struggling want to use a strap. But again, a partial way without a strap, an expression of a pose works beautiful as well. And on this one, I kind of shortened my strap a little bit to make it easier. We're going to come into Malasana, and some of you that have a hard time, you might take that block and set that behind. And again, the feet are wider than hip width apart. We're going to come into a Malasana and then to a Malasana bind. Awaken those arches in the feet. Spread those toes, Pada Bandha in the feet. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, come into Malasana. My elbows come inside my knees. Some of you may sit on the block. Elbows inside my knees as I draw length in my spine. I'm not hunched over. I'm broadening through the collarbones, and it's almost kind of magical as I root into the ground. On the inhale, I feel the breath rise, almost coming out my crown of the head. Up and down the spine, the inhale and the exhale. It's okay to close the eyes and grow this pose. I'm going to extend my right arm out and my left arm up. My left hand to my hip. And my right arm comes underneath, and I gaze over my left shoulder. Beautiful. So this is where someone can take the strap, and if they're struggling, they take the strap, and they can kind of give themselves 6 inches as they gaze over that shoulder. Gently release, come back to Malasana here. Press those elbows into the knees. Press the knees into the elbows. Lengthen the spine. The left hand comes out in front and the right arm up. Right hand by the sacrum. as another expression. And eventually we can take the left hand to clasp the fingers and then gaze over the right shoulder. Gently release. Malasana here. Several more breaths. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, melt into the ground. Inhale, root and rise. Try to come up without the hands and the knees. Cleansing breath together. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Malasana bind. If you struggle with touching the ground, you might want to utilize the strap or have it nearby. Okay, this is this is a Uttanasana bind. Now, it's kind of fun. I love sharing this with you. So we're going to take the feet about hip width apart in Tadasana. Awaken those arches. Stand tall. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, we're going to swan dive down. For those of you that maybe struggle a little bit, you might want to take the strap. I'm going to bend my right leg. I'm taking the strap with my right hand here, and I'm drawing it towards my sacrum. Eventually, can I take my left hand to clasp the strap or the right hand, and then I'm gazing over this left shoulder in a Uttanasana bind. Gently release. Forward fold. Gently bend the knees. Inhale, swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Inhale, swan dive up. Exhale, come into a forward fold. We're going to bend this left leg, and this is where some of you, if you're going to use a strap, you're going to place the strap in your left hand. As you thread that left hand through the sacrum here, through the leg to the sacrum, and then we clasp around here and we gaze over now the right shoulder. Gently release, forward fold. Gently bend the knees. Open the chest, swan dive up as we open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. Beautiful. Adjusting my blocks a little bit, moving my strap, coming into Surya Namaskara A. Awaken those arches. Let's do a cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. Awaken those arches. Energy in those legs. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Let's draw those palms together, head in line with those arms, and reach up. Let's do a little bit of a backhand bend as we open the chest, open the heart. Inhale, rise. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. framing the feet, step back into plank. If you have chaturanga in your practice, you can do chaturanga, or you can lower to the knees like we've practiced before. Otherwise, bring the sternum and chest forward, elbows close to the sides, shoulders in line with those elbows. Inhale, up dog, press to the tops of the feet, draw the pelvis forward, shoulder blades towards one another. Exhale, down dog. Tailbone back and down, pubis bone back and up. Walk the hands and the feet towards one another. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Gently bend the knees. Swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. I love it. This is kind of fun. We're going to take the mat to the wall and we're going to explore the wall as a prop here for our forward folds. So, okay. Let me just demonstrate real quick and then we'll come into it, okay? So I'm coming to the wall. My feet are, a few feet behind. I felt like that was the easiest when I was practicing this. And then I'm kind of lowering down here, down the wall, and I'm doing the best that I can here, right? I'm pretty flexible, and so I can kind of walk I almost get my head close to the wall here, and I can kind of walk my feet closer. Now, the goal is to see how my back is onto the ground, onto the wall. This is the goal here eventually. But the wall, and how do I walk out of it, is I walk my feet back and I allow clearance for my head as I come up. So obviously we have a lot of different levels. And maybe some of us just kind of resting the head onto the wall until we can get the back onto the wall and draw the feet closer. But the wall doesn't give, and it's a prop, and we're going to release and breathe into those hamstrings. So here we are a few feet off the wall. And we're going to gently lower, coming down onto the wall. Beautiful. And we're going to walk the feet closer. And eventually I can get my back to the wall. And I almost walk the hands back and I breathe into those hamstrings. I do the best. We're kind of modifying. We're doing the best that we can wherever we are. The wall is the prop, but we're also breathing into this release of the hamstring. It's a deep release. We'll stay here a while. Gently walk the feet away from the wall, allowing yourself a little head clearance as you gently swan dive up, and we open the chest, open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. Beautiful. I love it, guys. Let's add on just another Surya Namaskara A here before we come into a beautiful standing posture. Starting in Uttanasana, let's do a cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale, draw those arms up. Exhale, swan dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Step back into plank. Either partial chaturanga or chaturanga, sternum forward, shoulders aligned with those elbows. Inhale, transition, up dog, pelvis forward, thighs off the ground, shoulder blades down the back, broaden the collarbones. Exhale, down dog. Transition, walk it forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Gently bend the knees. Inhale, swan dive up. Open the chest. Open the heart. Exhale, heart centered. I love it. Focusing on a little standing balance now, incorporating dancer's pose, which takes into account your entire body and back, right? A beautiful kind of back bend, but a beautiful strengthening pose as well. It's a full body standing pose. Rooting through the four corners of the left leg, let's draw that left arm up. Let's take the thumb and index finger together if we can and make a Jana Mudra. Draw that right elbow in. That's a form of an energy. We're going to bend the right leg and clasp in the inner arch of the right foot. On the exhale, we're going to begin to kick up. Kick, and don't go forward yet. Kick as high as you can, till eventually we draw the chest forward just a bit. Belly button parallel towards the ground, hips stacked over one another. Gently release. Cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Draw that right arm up. Thumb and index finger together. Left elbow in. Draw length. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, clasp inside the inner arch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, begin to kick up. Open the chest, open the heart. Whoa, finding my balance. Oops, lost my balance there. I'm going to kick up a little bit more. Gently come out of the pose. Cleansing breath. Inhale. Exhale. I always like to challenge myself where I come out of the pose. I fall out of the pose too. It's part of sometimes coming to a level where my balance, everything's challenged. And so often in my own practice, I'm falling out of postures a lot because I want to get to a point where I'm holding longer, challenging myself. So you're not alone. We're not alone in this. and I applaud our efforts today. Let's neutralize the spine a little bit, and let's just do a long forward fold. Some of you, if you have a hard time, I want you to root through the sitting bones, and again, I want you to rotate that pelvis forward. For some of you that have a hard time doing that, sometimes sitting on a block or blanket under that sitting bone helps. And some of you simply taking the strap and helping you come forward into this pose is beautiful. We're going to come into this for a while. Our hamstrings are awake, right? They're ready to go. We did so many standing forward folds. And now we'll explore, I can go a little bit farther here, in my Paschimottanasana. Inhale, lengthen. This pose was really designed to often be towards the end of our practice. On the exhale, we come forward. We come forward. We reach 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches farther. And we bring the sternum and chest close to the ground. We continue to kind of engage the quadriceps here to release the hamstrings. Inhale and rise. Beautiful. Lying on our backs. Drawing both knees to the chest. Guide both knees over to the right. Stack them over one another and gaze over that left shoulder. Releasing the upper and middle part of the back. Gently release. Again, draw both knees together. Draw them over to the left. Extend that right arm to the ground. Draw the right shoulder blade to the ground. Gaze over the right shoulder. Gently release. One last happy baby pose before a Shavasana. So we can either clasp the belly of the hamstring or take and thread the arms, clasp outer edges of the feet, and I still awaken my arches of my feet, and I draw draw both knees towards my shoulders, but draw length in the lower back. Continue knees towards the shoulders, tailbone towards the ground. Gently release. Extend the arms, extend those legs. Really release, extend the arms, release the legs. Come in to a Shavasana. We're going to nestle down and truly let everything go. Relax the palms, relax the feet. And nestle the shoulder blades into the ground. Truly let go. One last inhale. Longer exhale. And we move to just kind of a natural breath. Detaching ourselves from our worries, our thoughts. Letting go. Natural to feel the chest expand on the inhale. Exhale, melt into the ground. Effortless breath. Preparing to come out of our Shavasana, little movements in your fingers and toes. Gently bend the knees. Right arm over the head. Use the left hand to press yourself up. Draw those arms up, heart-centered. Reflecting back on your intention of the practice. Who you offered this practice for. Sending them positive and kind energy and thoughts. Gently look up. And now when we leave the four corners of the mat, sometimes it's a time to reach out to a friend or family member that might need our support and love. Yoga doesn't end on the mat, it continues off the mat. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Namaste. Beautiful job today.